What's up, Landmark Church? It's your boy, Pastor Ray, and I'm super excited, y'all. We're in this incredible series called What If, and today, y'all, I have some incredible young people from LC, is that how you do it? LC Landmark Church right here in Alexandria, Virginia, and I'm super excited. I have the phenomenal Vicky Matthew is in the building, y'all. Let's give it up for Vicky. Gonna give us some snaps and claps. And then also I had my little brother, my little big brother now, because he got a couple inches on the brother now. My man's in them. Devin is in the building. Let's give it up for Devin, y'all. Give him some snaps. Man, I'm super excited, man. Thank y'all for joining us in this series, man. We have been in this incredible What If series. And so today, we're going to answer this question. What if you gave up? What if you gave up? I remember several years ago, I was in high school, my junior year, and I was offered a scholarship to Newport Prep High School that was in Montgomery County, and I was so excited, man, because I felt like this was going to be the ticket to get me out of the hood, Vic. I felt like this was the chance, man, that I was looking for, the door that God was opening. And then all of a sudden I lost the scholarship. My father was on drugs at that time, and it was just really tough, man. It was a situation where I felt like I went into this deep depression. And I almost gave up, y'all. But if it wasn't for this one counselor at my school, man, and jokingly we used to call her Miss Doubtfire. She was black, but we called her Miss Doubtfire. And she said to me, "You are smarter than you really know." And that was the one thing that I needed, man, in my mentality and everything that started to shift. But I almost gave up, y'all. But the seriousness of giving up, it didn't just impact me. I think about generations and my legacy, right? So for you, we're gonna start with you, Vic. Just tell us a time in your life, perhaps, when you almost gave up. Is it a situation or a scenario where you felt like, you know what, my hands are up?
Well, when I was like 18 or 19, I almost gave up with my life, honestly. So like you said, we don't think about how it impacts other people. It's not even about us. Because the amount of people that I have personally helped, or God has sent me to help, including my siblings or just random people, they wouldn't have been able to get their blessings if I gave up.
Wow. All right, y'all heard that. So Dad, how about you, man? Time in your life or scenario or something in your life where you almost gave up, throwing in the towel, you know what I mean? Apollo Creed, throwing the towel.
Personally, I never told anybody this. The only person that knows this is between me, my mother, my grandmother, and my sister. But when I was younger, I was diagnosed with mild stage autism and ADHD, and I had a couple other disabilities I can't really name right now. But when I was in school, I was made fun of, I was persecuted, I was always labeled as the slow kid type stuff. Growing in the hood, I couldn't really go outside with other kids because I didn't know how to interact with them. And when I did try to interact with them, they made fun of me, they beat me up, they did all sorts of things to me, and I couldn't really take it no more. So I thought about it in my life one night. My grandmother came in, she prayed for me, she laid hands on me, she took me to this church out Clinton, Maryland called Heaven's Best. The pastor prayed for me, both senior pastors prayed for me, they laid hands on me, put the Bible on me. And I felt rejuvenated. I felt like this fresh wind hit me and just came over me. Pretty soon in school, I started getting better with my books. I started writing. I started out performing in the classrooms. I was acknowledged on stage by the board of directors and stuff like that. They started giving me diplomas and stuff like that, just making me feel like I could do anything.
Wow, man.
And I just started overcoming all the obstacles in my life. I started gradually performing, excelling in class, and stuff like that. And I just felt like I was beating what they said that I couldn't do.
Come on, man. Now let me just say this, because first of all, thank y'all for sharing your truth, right? And you know, we really appreciate that, because there's power in conversation, right? And comprehension begins with conversation. So in those moments though, you shared yours. What was said to yourself? Did you say something to yourself? What was your mentality? What did you think about in the moment that changed that? The scenario in your mind, the enemy saying, you know what, go on, take your life. You know what I'm saying? What was that in your mind? When I first met you, Vic, I was like leader, chicken leader, right? Is that, what is that? But you always possess this incredible gift. And so as I'm looking at you and I'm like, man, just hearing that, it's like, wow, man. If the enemy would have won, but thank God he didn't, you feel me? But what was going on in your mind at the time for the shift that happened?
Honestly, sometimes when we fall, God put the right people at the right place at the right time. So the first time I was at home and my mother caught me right in the midst of it, into the thick of it. And she just ended up, like you said, just a piggyback, praying over me, talking to me, helping me try to figure out what were those things that were making me want to do it. So it was just like that motherly whisper in your ear. The other time, I was actually caught by somebody I had to deal with. I was like, yo, what are you doing? And it just became a bigger situation. They just talked to me calm. So it was like, sometimes when you keep yourself away from everybody else, because sometimes the quiet is good, but sometimes other times when it's like you're distancing yourself and you're by yourself, you start to believe those negative connotations about yourself. You start to believe, oh, I'm not enough. Oh, I'm disappointing people. Oh, I'm nothing. I don't understand. And you start to let those generational curses that you've been through take over. And God, I guess in both instances, sent someone else to help me realize, like, you're worth more than you see. Like, it's bigger than your eyes. It's not just your vision. Like, it's the bigger picture. People see past that.
Wow.
Because a lot of times we only see the bad, right? We don't be like, oh man, I'm failing. Oh man, I'm not becoming anything. Oh man, I'm not successful. And we see other people with these material successes, or even if they're not material successes, is what we think is success, right? So we're like, we start comparing ourselves to them, and it's like, well, they've been through this, I've been through this, why can't I make it out? Okay, well maybe I don't deserve to make it out. Okay, well maybe I can't make it out. And then you start to make yourself smaller and smaller and smaller, and sometimes it takes those other people to be like, no, you are bigger. Like, stand up, put your shoulders up, fix your posture, smile. Because you've done this. Like, you're not giving yourself enough credit. You're not acknowledging all the great things that you've done. And even though they're small things to us, they become bigger things to other people. So that's what saved me. God sent someone to be like, hey, you are enough.
That's so incredible, because sometimes the enemy, the adversary, will show us this PowerPoint presentation, and 9 times out of 10 it's the negative things, it's the things that we don't like about ourselves, and he'll try to use that so that you will give up, that you don't see yourself moving or living beyond one particular situation or a series of situations and experiences, because sometimes I feel like this bottle of water is just adding up, and then all of a sudden there's no room for it. You know what I'm saying? And so he tries to do that. So today, we just want to encourage your heart. Perhaps there are scenarios or situations, experiences in your life, and you've heard various scenarios right here at the table of how we almost gave up. I just want to share just a couple verses of scripture. This comes from Joshua 1, chapter number 1, verses 1 through 9. And I love this because the backdrop, as some of us may know, Joshua was like the little mentee to Moses, right? Moses now is dead, and God is like, yo, I need you to step up. I need you to take his place. And he's like, what? I can't do that. So here, I'm going to pick it up right here. Verse number 2, after he's dead. And it says this, I'm going to go to verse 1. After the death of Moses, the servant of God, God spoke to Joshua, Moses' assistant. Moses, my servant, is dead. Get going, right? That's get going with a period. Cross this Jordan River, you and all the people. Cross to the country I'm giving to the people of Israel. I'm giving you every square inch of land you set your foot on, just as I promised Moses. From the wilderness and this Lebanon, east to the great river of the Euphrates River, all the Hittite country, and then west to the great sea. It's all yours. Check that out. All your life. Check out the language. No one will be able to hold out against you. In the same way I was with Moses, I will be with you. I won't give up on you. I won't leave you. Strength with an exclamation point. Courage with an exclamation point. You are going to lead this people to inherit the land that I promised to give their ancestors. Give it everything you have, heart and soul. Make sure you carry out the revelation that Moses commanded you. Every bit of it. Don't get off track, either left or right, so as to make sure you get to where you're going. And don't for a minute, I was going to say a second, let this book of Revelation be out of mind. ponder and meditate on it day and night. Make sure you practice everything written in it. Then you will get where you're going. Then you'll succeed. Haven't I commanded you? Strength, courage, don't be timid. So I love this passage, y'all, because he says it to him 3 times. Now, I'm like, okay, so I understand like the biblical number of 3 is like completeness, harmony, right? All this kind of stuff. But there was something here, man. Can you imagine Joshua in this moment, like feeling overwhelmed, feeling like, yo, I can't do this. This is a large task. We're talking about maintaining a covenant that you gave Moses. It wasn't even for me. I was just kind of hanging along with him, and I didn't know I was going to even be called to something or move past something. And so he calls him. It's your turn, Devin. It's your turn, Vic. Coming out of what you thought the enemy was trying to do, throwing your hands up. Sometimes our surrendering something can mean something good, because as I lift my hands off of it, I give it to God. I give it to God. So here's a couple takeaways I just want to share with us. The first is admit, right? ABC. Admit that we need God. Point blank. In my situation, Joshua could not lead himself without God. Be strong, be courageous, right? That's like, what? I gotta be strong, I gotta be courageous. You're talking about somebody mentally amping himself up. Then to be, believe that God is with you even in your situation. That's one of the things that as I mentioned in my story, going into kind of a depression. Nobody used that language back then. We didn't, a lot of African Americans and families and communities, even if the person is depressed, they don't say that. You know what I mean? I felt like I was depressed. Now looking back, I'm like, man, I probably was depressed during that time. But believing that even in the midst of that, I didn't know what God looked like. God was operating in your story. God was in your story. He didn't speak to us like he did Joshua, say, I need you to go to the river, right? But believing that he was in the midst. How did you know? Because of the people that you just talked about that he used in the midst of the situation. And then the C is, we talked about this, change the mentality. So first I gotta admit that I need God. Then I gotta believe that God is with us even in the situation. But then I gotta change my mentality. Oh, that's another thing. And sometimes that takes courage and strength to say, you know what? Here's how I'm stinking thinking. That's what we used to talk about. You got stinking thinking right now about yourself. Sometimes we'll fight for everybody else except for ourselves, right? So those are the ABCs. And then as you think about this, last thing is this, man. When you think about, you change your mentality, your family stepped in, people stepped in your story. What's next? Like, what was next for you after that situation? Did you think back on it? Or did you say, you know what, I'm gonna go with it?
So for me, it was the giving up. Because it's like one of those things like when you're tired of dealing with something. Like if you're dealing with somebody bad in a relationship, right? Or someone who has negative connotations. That's my new thing, negative connotations. It takes you to be tired of being tired. Like, so sometimes I feel like it's the opposite. It takes for you to give up how you view yourselves. It takes for you to give up that life that you're living. It takes for you to give up those things that you're doing to transform your mind and renew your mind in order to accept those new things. Because if you don't, people can tell you all day, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're great, you can be wonderful, you have so much prosperity inside you, but if you don't give up that mentality that you have, if you don't give up how you're viewing yourself, if you don't give up those things that other people have said about you, then you're not going to be able to make it to the next part. You're not going to be able to take those things. Like he wasn't ready because he wasn't ready the first time, which is why he had to get it repeated to him multiple times to give up how he seen himself. He didn't see himself as big enough to fill in those footsteps. So that's what it took for me. For me to like, you know what? Okay, cool. I'm this basketball player. I need to give it up. I'm trying to follow these footsteps of what I think I should be doing or what I feel like people would like me to do. I have to give that up so that I can be me, because that's part of the reason that I can't accept myself, and that's part of the reason why I'm unhappy with myself, because I'm taking in those things that people feel like I should be versus who I was made to be. So that kind of helped me deal with my demons and deal with my daddy issues or deal with my insecurities or deal with my, I'm not successful enough, because every time I make it, something happens. I had to renew my mind and give up how I felt about myself and take myself for who I am, because I am who I am.
Yeah, right.
So that's what it was for me.
Man, that's good. How about you, Dad?
To me personally, I think it was just, I I think it was what drove me. I felt like it was just like instead of using my disability as a crutch and my insecurities and all that, like Ricky said, as a crutch, I used it as a gift. Because
Wait. Instead of using it as a crutch, right? I fractured a bone in my hip, my leg a couple years ago, so I know what the crutches do. But instead of using it as a crutch, you said you use it as a what?
I use it as a gift. I use it as a gift from God because He wouldn't plague me with something He knew I couldn't carry. That's something I knew I couldn't take with me as motivation to drive myself to do my absolute best, give my all 100,000%. Because I know He has special plans for me, and I know that He has something that's in tune for me personally. Because I may not see it now, but He keep telling me, even in my dreams when I go to sleep, He tells me that it's coming because He knows that I'm meant for something greater that other people will not understand.
Yeah.
Even occasionally me, but it will all come to fruition soon, and I'll be able to thank God for His gift of grace and mercy of what He has bestowed upon me.
Man. Well, look. I know time is on us, but listen. This has been phenomenal. We gotta come back and do like maybe a part 2 or something.
I agree.
Because this is amazing. So listen, we love you guys out there. One of the things that I'm hearing, what I've learned over the years, is that some of the things that I've gone through help to eventually build my muscles. You know what I'm saying? It builds. So going through a situation and I didn't give up. It's God using those situations to build the strength, spiritual strength, muscle that I can use in different scenarios, and I learn from them. So that I can also use that gentleman as a gift. You know what I'm saying? So come on in here, somebody. So let me tell you guys, man, first of all, powerful stories, man. And I want to thank you guys, not only for sharing, but not giving up. You did not give up. And I'm telling you, man, that the world is a better place because of you. And the things that God wants to do through you has a major impact. It's like domino effect. Of the world being a better place. And I'm listening to y'all and being a part of this conversation today. I'm super excited to see what God is going to do next in your life. So thank you so much again for sharing your heart, sharing your pain, and sharing your story and your gifts. All right. So thank you, man. God bless you out there. And we're praying for you. And as we say always at Landmark Church, let's go and change the world. God bless.